And we're back, and believe it or not, we are not just a basketball podcast as much as it might seem otherwise these days. How's your hockey fatigue, buddy?
Still there. I don't know. It's gonna take a while to get back into it. It's up. When you're following the number of sports that we follow, you kind of got to pick and choose what you're putting your time into because of the lives that we lead outside of sports. So hockey's been on the back burner a little bit, still following the results. Hopefully have a little bit of insight, but for now, yeah, it's been definitely a secondary watch for me.
Yeah, I think it also takes a round. Like I'm sure the third round will be a little more compelling, but that feeling of the immediate letdown of we're not in this series that we could and should be in is a bit tough. And I also feel you on the sports fatigue. I'm still following MMA. I'm like I spent some of the day like watching fights I missed last night, but like just not in it enough to be calling it. But yeah, we we pick up what we can and we'll share what we've got to pick up. Maybe the most disappointing part of the hockey fatigue is the timing with this Vegas Colorado series, which has been very interesting so far. And now at 2-1, I think Colorado blowing out Vegas in game one takes away a little from what a close series this seems like. And the Avs the Golden Knights with a huge comeback to make it a 2-1 series and not go down 3-0, which would have spelt the end really. But that's hockey, eh? How many times like,
Yeah,
oh, just one goal two times, and then suddenly momentum's completely changed.
absolutely. It was a game that they needed to win because they were dominant in. And now going back, I think it's 5 periods in a row where Vegas has just looked like the better team. And the tide is slowly turning in this series. It looks like they're starting to figure out Colorado after the Avalanche jumped on them. And you could imagine there's a little bit of fatigue there for Vegas coming off just from the Minnesota series right into Colorado, who is a really, really strong team. But Vegas is starting to pick things up. They've got game four uh, in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena with basically a full crowd behind them. Uh, they're starting to pull themselves back in the series. It was really, really big for the momentum, though, to get that goal from Marchessault and Pacioretty to turn things around. And I think they're absolutely back in this. They're too good of a team to let this be over quickly, and Colorado's going to have to figure things out because Vegas has made an obvious adjustment, and Colorado needs to counter adjust.
Yeah, and I think the only points coming from that top line are off the power play so far on Colorado's end. So we talked about Vegas's first line, but Colorado is what like they're clearly getting scoring, but yeah, like Rantanen's goal came on the power play. I'm pretty sure the other night. I don't think 5-on-5 that top line has produced anything yet, or if it was in the first game. So there's another point of intrigue.
So it is interesting because that could be either attributed to something Vegas has been doing, or you're just waiting. Oh no, McKinnon hasn't had a big 5-on-5 game yet, and now he's going to put up a hattie in game four, right? It could really go either way. And from Leafs trauma, we know that we tend to lean more towards, oh, they figured him out, nothing's going to happen. But it seems like other teams actually have top lines that can produce, believe it or not.
Yeah, for sure. It's the defense of Vegas was a big narrative going in, so for me at least. So wanna return to earlier talking points there. And that's what happens in a lot of playoff series though, right? Like the focus is all on these certain players and that leaves holes for other players to take advantage of. And it's a bit of a chess match back and forth. So I agree that Vegas seems to have made the adjustments, and now it's on the Avalanche to make the counter adjustments. But hopefully, they take another game or two to do that, and we get like a nail biter 7-game series. And maybe that's exactly what the doctor ordered to cure this hockey fatigue.
Absolutely, that I would be down for that. The other Juggernaut series that is turning out to be a little bit more one sided than we had initially thought. Uh, the Carolina Hurricanes, who I had picked in this series, are now down 3-1 to Tampa Bay. and all 10 goals of this game were scored in the second period. So that's a long period to get through for the Carolina home fans. And Tampa Bay, just Stamkos with two, Kucherov with two. The big boys are taking over, and Tampa's been here, done that. Just such a really solid team, man. There's not much more to say about that. They've just been really, really impressive.
Yeah, I still see no reason why they can't go back to back this year. I realize I don't actually know what the third round playoff matchups look like.
So they'll reseed based on who's left. I know the Avalanche are the one seed as they were the President's Trophy winners. I think it's just based on overall record. So Vegas would probably be the two seed. I think what it could look like now, if we just go who's winning the current series and then I guess just pick a random one between Boston and New York, I imagine it would be Colorado facing off against Montreal, and then it would be Tampa Bay against Boston, or the Islanders would be the uh the setup there. So
Yeah, that would be ideal. Tampa versus the winner of Vegas, Colorado, I feel like is the best Stanley Cup playoffs you can ask for, though maybe I'm counting out these Bruins and Islanders teams who are going punch for punch right now. Although,
yeah, head to head, Taylor Hall has been great. And now looking back, you wonder if the Leafs could have got him, but we've already touched on that. So we'll keep going. I guess more Leafs talk, really. Like, this series has been so even so far. Each team getting a boost from their home fans in one capacity or another. Also, some big clutch moments from Marchand, from Matt Barzal, and to tie it back to the Leafs, it's if you're Mitch Marner, you should just sit in front of a TV and watch Barzal tape all offseason, because it's a similar type of game, right? A perimeter oriented, really skilled, smaller forward, but Barzal completely drives the offense of this Islanders team and seems to even turn it up in the playoffs, whereas Marner in the last couple series has seemed to disappear offensively, at least. And so if you're Marner, you're looking, what is Barzal doing? Is he driving the net a little bit more? Is he using his body in this position? Is he how is he responding to the physicality that the playoffs brings? Because he's really, really special, and a really, really, like, the most important part, I would say, besides the goaltending, of why the Islanders continue to make it to the second round every year.
yeah, absolutely. Where are we at on Jets? All right, we got a minute 36 left in the Jets Canadians game, and the Canadians are up 5-1. So I think we
Which
can
just
call
makes me
that.
more angry.
I, I'm trying to get away from the Leafs here, but that was a really bad segue to do so on.
The Montreal Canadiens, who we should have beat, are now up 3-0 against the Winnipeg Jets in this series. Utter dominance. Winnipeg cannot get anything going. And I imagine the Leafs would have run this team as well.
Yeah, the Jets looking like the team that blew the almost in first place spot in the regular season and slid down to third, that we temporarily forgot because they steamrolled the Oilers before getting steamrolled themselves. But Carey Price has been too good for them to find consistent answers on. They get a couple, but he's getting better as the series goes on, it seems like. Not a lot of secondary, third options. They really have to try and bottle lightning multiple times in a night. They're not getting the consistent offense that they need going. And this Canadians team can be really quiet or really loud offensively, but like all four lines can score. Their top four defense can contribute to the offense. You don't know if it doesn't really feel like they have a top line. You can make an argument that Corey Perry and Eric Stahl are in their top line, the way like the point production has been coming from those guys. Guys like Nick Suzuki, Anderson are good for like a surprising show. Tyler Toffoli, probably their most consistent goal scorer, but there's a pretty damn good chance the Montreal Canadiens going to be one of the top four teams in the playoffs this year, and
Carey
would
Price
not have
does
seen that coming 3 months ago.
no, no, not even close. Carey Price deserves all of the praise in the world. It's truly a vintage performance from him. Um, he if Montreal even makes it to the final, he should be in the conversation for Conn Smythe because it's truly remarkable what he's done, turning back the clock after a couple of rough regular seasons. He just seems to turn it up in the playoffs. It's truly incredible, and he is the main reason why they're here now and why they will be advancing at some point if they advance, and a reason why they are having all the success that they're having in this postseason. It's truly like, we're going to get the stops. Now let's scrape together this full team effort and just squeak out wins. And all the credits due to Montreal because that's what they've done. But it hurts my soul every time I take a look at them, even just playing in second round hockey.
What did Jimmy Butler say at one point in this regular season? Like, just get us to the playoffs. That's all I ask of my team. Then I'll take it from there.
That didn't age well.
But basically, what Carey Price
Yeah,
has been doing, and
because Jake Allen was the starter for the second half of the season, essentially.
yeah, and now the question that going up 3-0, it's pretty hard to imagine they lose this series at this point. And the question now is, do they have another upset in them? It was definitely an upset against the Leafs. This Jets series probably was a lot more 50-50 going in. The Jets noticeably weak on the blue line. Whoever they play, whether it's the Islanders, the Bruins, Vegas, Colorado, Tampa, I don't think it'll be Carolina, but none of those teams have a weak blue line. So the offense is probably going to get a lot harder to come by. And this has been a playoffs, especially in the Canadian division, of exposure. The Edmonton Oilers got exposed for having paper thin offense behind McDavid. The Winnipeg Jets are now getting absolutely exposed for not having a solid enough defensive core. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been exposed as a cursed hockey team once again. I can easily see in the third round the Montreal Canadiens getting exposed for being Carey Price, some great defenders, and then some guys who just find a way to score goals, but will go quiet as they did at times during the regular season. But at the same time, all you really need to win a Stanley Cup is a really hot goaltender. So I'm conflicted here between feeling like it could be very cool to be in the city of Montreal as the Habs go on a playoff tear and wanting this team that has, well, really, it's just another drop in the ocean, but like brutalized my Leafs, wanting to see them suffer. So I'm going to sit on that fence and I'll let people know which way I fall.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I don't know what to say at this point. It's they get to go to the States and they get to host American teams. They're doing the exemption the Canadian government granted them. So that's great that they won't have to play in the States. It's awesome for Montreal. Happy for them. But we'll see how far it goes. I mean, what's better than getting to kill Shifley in game 6, not having to see him again, right? So I'm sure that's what they're going for. Alrighty, we will take one last break and come back to wrap up the show with a couple of other notes from other sports.